Greetings and welcome to an impromptu Powerpuff Girls vlog. For those who do not know, the Powerpuff Girls recently appeared in a multiverse crossover episode on the TV show Jellystone. And because of that, I need to record a vlog about it. Now, this one is going to be a little more off the cuff, little less scripted, little less edited, because this just came out. I want to get this out so that viewers like you will know that this episode exists, because if I wasn't on Twitter, I would not know that this episode existed. So I'm just going to record this real quick, maybe do a couple edits, and then get it out there. So if it's not as polished as previous videos, apologies in advance. Real quick, just going to quickly give a brief summary of the episode with a special focus on the Powerpuff Girls stuff, since there's a bunch of characters in this, and the Powerpuff Girls is kind of a huge part of the show. But anyway, Jellystone is basically a reboot of the Hanna-Barbera verse. It contains like updated versions of all these different characters, including Yogi Bear, Jabberjaw, and just ignore whatever background noise you hear. It's part of my new space. But anyway, you have all these different Hanna-Barbera characters living in harmony in a bunch of episodes. I haven't seen the show, so I can't speak to them. But in any case, their life is disrupted when not one, not two, but 3 different Cartoon Network characters pop up in the show. You have Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory, and last and most prevalent to this episode is Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls. They reveal that through different circumstances, they both got sent to this universe. Billy got pushed through a portal by Grimm, Dee Dee got zapped here by Dexter, and Mojo Jojo got punched so hard by the Powerpuff Girls that he literally left his universe. So the citizens of Jellystone, I guess, work on getting these characters back home and settling them, and we get a bit of them adjusting to civilian life before more Cartoon Network characters start piling in. A big battle ensues involving a bunch of cameos and crossovers from other Cartoon Network shows, and then ultimately everyone goes home. And as someone who grew up watching Cartoon Network, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest Cartoon Network crossover ever. I think some of the ones they did while a lot of these shows were running were probably better. Most notably, you had the Grip, Billy, Mandy, Kids Next Door crossover. But again, it's been so long that since I've seen most of these characters that I enjoyed it for what it was, especially given the state Cartoon Network's in right now, where the studio exists in name alone, the actual building shut down. Everyone's been folded into Warner Brothers. There'll be links with more info below. But yeah, because of all that, it's like the fact that we get to see all these characters again and hear some of their voices was pretty cool. I mean, it's not everyone, and I imagine that probably came down to money, just because getting all these different actors in the booth was a lot, but they got enough voices in there, and just seeing them is going to be enough, and it's cool. If I were to criticize the episode, is that some of the characters felt a little off. Like, I don't think Dee Dee works without Dexter to play off of. Billy felt a little subdued. And again, I don't know how much of this is the characters being brought out of their world and how much of it is them not being written by most of their original creators. But it felt off. I mean, the only characters I felt were used well were Billy, Grimm, and Mandy, which I think comes down to the fact that this episode was directed by Maxwell Adams, who previously was the creator of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and I imagine this was a lot of fun for him, considering that he has tried to get a revival for the show going. It got shot down. He made a post about it on social media, like he had an image and a revival for something that never happened. So yeah, the fact that he was able to Trojan horse a Billy and Mandy episode into Jellystone was fun. And then on top of that, he also had Haas in an Underfist outfit, which is a nod to a rejected spin-off show where Haas, Scar, Irwin, and Fred Fairburger were going to form a superhero team called Underfist. It's the last episode of Billy and Mandy, but it was actually meant to be a backdoor pilot. So the fact that he got Underfist in there, also cool. But lastly, I should probably talk about the Powerpuff Girls connection, since this is a Powerpuff Girls vlog. Again, this is off the cuff, so apologies, I should have led with this. But anyway, the bulk of the episode, or the heart of the episode, I should say, sees Mojo Jojo fall in love with I forget the name of the character, but basically there's the female bear who I remember being a love interest for Yogi in the original show. But in any case, while Mojo's stuck here, the two of them fall in love, and the heart of the episode is them confessing their feelings for each other. And it's kind of sweet. The reason I say kind of is because on one end, Mojo Jojo is a character who is very isolated and alone, and it was nice to see him find companionship. At the same time, though, his voice sounded off. And when I say that, I don't mean the voice itself. Like, the voice sounded fine, but it's the way he talked that felt off. Like Mojo Jojo, he talks really fast, he speaks in the third person, and he doesn't really do any of that in this episode. And I don't know if that's because they thought it would be too distracting, or it was just hard to write, but in any case, that is an element I miss. Like, I want Mojo. I mean, part of the whole fun of Mojo Jojo is the way he talks. I mean, I've done vlogs where I just praise that voice. So the fact that you bring him back and you don't have him do his, like, classic speech mannerisms, just, it was a bit of a bummer. But I was happy he found love. Again, like, I mean, you'll probably see this vlog at some point in the future, but I did watch Meet the Beatles, and that is another episode of the Powerpuff Girls where Mojo Jojo finds someone. So it was sweet to have them actually have a genuine relationship, not just one that's like taken and then yoinked. I mean, this one, they kind of take it and yoink, but they still keep in touch at the end of the episode. They still, even though would destroy the multiverse, they still keep in touch. And that actually leads to my other favorite gag, which is the end where they're like, doing this could probably destroy Cartoon Network. And it's one of those gags that makes you wonder, like, where was this episode in production when the whole Cartoon Network shutdown occurred? Because was this just meant to be like a meta joke about the fact that there is no Cartoon Network anymore? Or was this just coincidental timing? In any case, it was funny, and I know I've spent a fair amount of the episode complaining and nitpicking, but honestly, I think this episode is worth watching, if anything, because it's made with love. You can tell that this is made by people who really loved Cartoon Network, at least 2000s Cartoon Network, where I grew up on. Like, I mean, there's characters from all over, but it seems particularly concentrated on that early mid-2000s era that I grew up on and a lot of other people grew up on. And for a lot of people, just seeing those characters and hearing those voices is going to be enough. And then on top of that, it also serves as great promotion, because the beauty of crossovers is that they are these two-way streets where you have the people who normally watch Jellystone who are maybe getting exposed to these classic characters for the first time and are now intrigued to check those shows out. And then you will have people like me, people who aren't regular Jellystone viewers and are watching this primarily for the Cartoon Network characters that are popping up. And I'm definitely more intrigued. I mean, I've always meant to check out Jellystone, and this was the push I needed. And I definitely am going to want to check out more episodes of this show. And if nothing else, this episode did do that for me. That's all I have to say about this episode. Again, see it if you haven't already. Share it with your friends, especially if they grew up on Cartoon Network. And hopefully I'll be back soon with more vlogs. I'll do what I normally do. There'll be a video in the summer, letting you guys know it's coming. And then I have some videos in the can, which means that they're basically ready to go. I'm just waiting for the right time to put them out. So there'll be some stuff in the fall. I just need to figure out what it is, when it's coming out, what's the best order. But until then, this is J Star Wars 360, and I'll see you in the multiverse.